Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be testing out a bunch of new drugstore and affordable makeup launches. I'm excited to try a lot of these. I just placed an Ulta order the other day and they already came in the mail. So I'm planning on testing a bunch in today's video and then some additional ones in a video in a few days because I'm just waiting on a couple of other launches. The drugstore has been releasing so many fun products lately. I actually just uploaded a video on Sunday sharing speed reviews on 20 different drugstore launches. So there will definitely be a lot of additional drugstore content on my channel over the next few weeks. But today I thought we could just sit down, hang out, play with some new makeup, and I could share my initial thoughts on these products. But of course, I will follow up with full reviews once I've had a chance to really thoroughly test everything out. So let's start with this product. Essence released a couple of new primers. I actually picked up 2 of them, and I am going to use them both today, but I'm going to start with this one, the Hello Good Stuff Glow Serum Primer. It's supposed to be a hydrating and smoothing base. It has watermelon and niacinamide. A lot of people are saying this is a dupe for a Glow Recipe product. I really like Glow Recipe products, but they can be a little bit expensive, so I thought I would try this out. So first of all, this does have a strong watermelon scent, just like the Glow Recipe product, which I do like. I love watermelon scented products. So initially, I like how my skin feels. It definitely has a smooth, lightly hydrated texture. It's not an overly hydrating primer, but I do feel like my skin feels smooth. It looks glowy. So initially, really good. We'll see how makeup applies on top, but I am going to pair it with another primer. This is the Essence Fix and Last Makeup Gripping Jelly Primer. I really like jelly primers. I really like those like slightly tacky primers because I do find they lock my makeup into place. So I'm not going to apply this on my entire face. I'm just going to focus this on the T-zone. Okay, this feels thinner than the e.l.f. Power Grip Primer and the e.l.f. Jelly Pot Primer. The Power Grip Primer has been my go-to for the summertime because it definitely locks my makeup into place a little bit better than other primers out there. This one doesn't have the same tackiness at all. In fact, if it didn't say right on the packaging that it was a makeup gripping primer, I probably would have assumed that it was just a hydrating primer. It says on the bottle to allow several seconds to activate the full gripping effect and then apply your makeup on top. So we'll see. So far, just initially, I don't think it's going to be as good as the e.l.f. primer, but it might be a less intense option if the e.l.f. Power Grip is a little bit too sticky or tacky for you. Before I apply foundation, I'm just going to apply a lip product. So I got these new tropical lip oils from Makeup Revolution. They look super cute. I think I'm going to go in with the pink one. I love trying out new lip oils, especially affordable options. I think these are like $6 or $7. I think this one is like a pomegranate watermelon scent. It's a subtle scent, so it's not over the top. I wouldn't say this is overly glossy, and it definitely doesn't have a lot of pigment at all. It kind of looks like a clear lip oil. So initially, not anything super special, but I'll try out the other two and I'll keep you posted. But I do think it looks super cute. So who knows, maybe it will last a little bit longer on the lips because it's not overly oily. I am just going to take the Catrice True Skin Concealer. I'm just going to do a little bit of spot concealing because my skin has been breaking out. Anyway, I just have a little bit of redness and some breakouts on my chin. So I'm just going to spot conceal those areas before going in with foundation. I was going to test a new foundation. I got the Makeup Revolution IRL Filter, but the shade is just off. I got the shade F5, and in the bottle, it actually looks like it would be a really close match. But when I swatch it, I'll swatch it for you guys just in case you're considering this one, it looks really pink toned. But I feel like because I am using a new primer and some new face products, I'd rather just use a foundation I'm familiar with anyway for today's video. So this is the Catrice True Skin Hydrating Foundation, and I have the shade 030 Neutral Sand. By the way, here's a look at that swatch. It kind of looks like it would match my face because I do have some redness, but when I blend it onto my face to see if it matches, it doesn't match my neck at all, so I think I'm going to have to get another shade of that. The finish of that Makeup Revolution foundation looks like it would be so nice though. Definitely like something I would like. So I do want to get another shade. I think I got that shade because it was described as like a light foundation with a golden undertone, but it just looks really pink on my skin. Anyway, this Catrice foundation is my go-to. It's been a staple for such a long time. This year I did want to try out some additional foundations, but without fail, every single time I order the wrong color online. I go based on the description, I go based on the swatches, I even look up additional swatches, but I have such a hard time finding like the right undertone, the right shade. So I think I probably just need to go into stores to buy my foundations. I would just test that one out, but my husband and I are actually going out to dinner tonight on a date night. I'm so excited. My parents are watching the baby, so we are actually going somewhere, so I don't really want my makeup to turn out too poorly if I can help it. Okay, so this foundation is going on really nicely on top of the Essence primers. It looks really smooth, really even. It doesn't look patchy at all. I wouldn't say that the Essence primer ever got to the point where it felt a little bit tacky, so I'm not really sure it's going to extend the wear of my makeup, but it did leave my skin feeling really hydrated, and the other one left my skin looking glowy. So let me just speed through the rest of this foundation application, and then I'll move on to concealer. Okay, here's how the foundation looks. I think it looks a little bit light on camera. I feel like it always does whenever I use it, but in real life, it matches and it kind of dries down just a little bit darker. So it went on really nicely, and I think you can see a little bit of the glow left from the Glow Serum Primer. This definitely made my skin look and feel super smooth. I deal with a lot of texture, especially around my chin, and in this area as well, and I feel like the foundation went on really nicely, and again, you can kind of see a little bit of that glow under the foundation. So I definitely think this could be a good option, and like I said, it doesn't look patchy or uneven or anything like that. So for concealer, I'm just going to go in with the Catrice True Skin Concealer again. I have the shade Cool Cashmere, and I'm just going to focus this right here, and then between my brows, right around my nose where I get a little bit red, and then right in the inner or the outer corners. I'm going to list all of the brushes that I use in the description box. This is not like my go-to under eye concealer brush. It's a little bit big. It's actually the Putty Primer Applicator, which I tend to use for cream products or even for foundation. I'm in the process of washing all of my brushes. I have a ton of them right here, but I kind of have like a random assortment of brushes, and none of my go-to concealer brushes are here, so this one does the job. To set my concealer, I'm just going to use a product that I used to love and then I recently repurchased it. It is the Catrice Prime and Fine Mattifying Powder, and it is supposed to be waterproof. So I haven't had this in my collection for a little while, but I thought it could be a fun option to try out again now that it's summer. So I've been using this to set my under eye concealer lately, and I feel like it works nicely because it's very, very lightweight and it mattifies the area, but it doesn't look heavy or cakey. And I feel like it does lock my concealer into place and just kind of give this area a little bit more of a blurred appearance. So I'm just going to apply this everywhere that I applied concealer, which is pretty much just between my brows, a little bit up here because I do deal with redness and I feel like I have a little bit of texture in this area. So I feel like going in with a smoothing concealer does help. Before I set the rest of my face, I am going to use a cream bronzer and then possibly a cream blush as well. So I picked this one up from Makeup Revolution. It is the Ultra Cream Bronzer and I have the shade Light. So I haven't tested this out at all. Let me actually just swatch it to see if this shade will work well for me. It feels like it is going to be pretty dewy. I told you guys in a recent video that I've been wanting to try some additional affordable cream bronzers because my go-to is the e.l.f. Putty Bronzer, which I love, but I've just been wanting to try out some other options. I have been enjoying this new NYX Wonder Stick, so I thought about using that in today's video, but I really want to actually apply this Makeup Revolution one to the skin to see how it works because it does swatch nicely. It feels really smooth. So I'm just going to use this Colourpop brush and I'm just going to go directly into the pan and just lightly stipple it onto the skin. I've really been loving cream bronzer and cream blush this year, which is just so weird for me because I never really thought that I would be like a cream product fan when it comes to cheek products, but I definitely am. I think they just look so good on the skin. So let me look in a mirror because I feel like I'm having a hard time seeing in the viewfinder. That definitely looks nice. So it's pretty subtle. Let me just go in with my foundation brush because I feel like I brought it down a little bit too far, but it's going on really nicely. It definitely looks really smooth, super blendable, really natural on the skin. A lot of the cream bronzers I have actually come in stick form like this NYX one. And I feel like sometimes when it comes to products like this, like you draw it on and then it's a little more difficult to blend out. This honestly melted into my skin without really any effort. It looks really, really nice. It definitely has like a pretty intense glow to it. I am going to be testing out a new blush. So I was kind of on the fence about this one. It's from CoverGirl. It is the All Over Dewy Tint and I got the shade Dreamy Pink. So a few years ago, CoverGirl, I almost said Colourpop, CoverGirl released these serum blushes, which kind of they kind of seem like this kind of seems similar to what those were. The way that I said that sounded super, super complicated. So I'm just going to apply a little bit with my finger. And then I'm taking the same brush I used for bronzer. I just wiped off all of the excess bronzer. And I'm just going to blend it in. I'm just going to go in with a little bit more. The ones that I tried a few years ago looked very streaky, super patchy on the skin. So I was kind of hesitant to try these, but that looks pretty. It looks very, very natural. I feel like this formula is a little bit more sheer. It almost has a serum texture to it. Wow, that looks really pretty on the skin. It just gives my skin like a natural flush without being too over the top. I'm kind of new to like liquid and serum type blushes, but look how pretty that is. I think it is the most beautiful glow, especially for summertime. Okay, so I think I'm going to end it there for the cheek products. I'm just going to lightly powder the rest of my face. I'm just going to go in with the Catrice powder and kind of go around those areas. So I'm mainly going to focus the powder right here in the center where I do tend to get oily. And then I have to powder my nose because my nose does get really oily as well. And then I'm just going to kind of focus the powder in the center of my face and then down on my chin. Last step, I'm taking a very large brush and just lightly setting them. It's going to erase a little bit of that shine, but I think in an hour or two, once my skin starts to get oily, it will kind of come back out on its own. For the brows, I'm just going to be using the NYX Thick It Stick It Brow Gel, and I have the shade Espresso. So I think the bronzer and the blush went on perfectly. I am definitely impressed by both of those formulas. They're just quick and easy to use, and I feel like they are just perfect for like quick everyday makeup. Like lately I haven't really been doing a lot with my eyes. Sometimes I'll skip eyeshadow or just use like a liquid or a cream for a quick one and done eyeshadow look. But I'll sometimes still take the time to do my base and then my brows and just wear mascara. And I feel like that's just like a good summertime look. So I definitely think the bronzer and the blush would come in handy for those days. I'll give the brow gel a few minutes to dry while I do my eyes. I'm going to use the Milani Eyeshadow Primer just to prep them for eyeshadow. This is the LA Girl Sunkissed Glow Palette. I did talk about this in a purchase or pass video, and I told you guys I was curious to try this one because I do like LA Girl eyeshadows, but pretty much all of the ones that I've tried have been really colorful. This is definitely more of like a true staple neutral eyeshadow palette. So I'm just going to set my eyeshadow primer into place with this shade. I have the weirdest assortment of eyeshadow brushes here. I wasn't sure if I was going to film this video today because it is Saturday, and I usually try not to film on the weekends, but because we are going on a date night tonight and I was going to do my makeup anyway, I figured this would be the perfect time to try out some products. Next, I'm going to take this shade right here. I think I'll just stick with like a typical warm neutral eyeshadow look. This is a pretty warm toned palette, so I think in the end I'll probably get some version of like a warm golden copper eye. This is blending out really nicely. So like I said, I have tried LA Girl eyeshadows, but pretty much all of the shadows I've tried have been really colorful. I have a palette that has really gorgeous greens and blues and purples, and then I have a palette that's somewhat similar to the Natasha Denona Zendo, which again has warm tones, but it also has some greens and blues in it. So I was excited to try this one just because it is more of like a basic everyday neutral palette, and I figured I'd be able to get a lot of use out of it. Next, I'm going to go in with this brown shadow in the crease as well, just kind of right on top of that other shadow, just to deepen it up slightly. If you guys are new to my channel or new to my Get Ready With Me's, usually I just kind of blend all over the eye. It looks a little bit messy, and then I'll go in and clean it up afterwards, but I feel like if I try to be too precise, it never looks as blended, so I'd rather just blend a little bit too high, maybe blend out a little bit too far, and then go in and clean it up afterwards. It usually comes together in the end, or I feel like sometimes it's just nice to do your eyes first and then do the base afterwards because then you don't have to worry about fallout or anything like that. But if I am testing a new palette, I like to do my base first in these videos just so I can clearly see if there is a lot of fallout. And with this palette, it doesn't look like there is any yet. For the lid, I'm going to take this shade, and then I'll probably go in with a little bit of this gold shade on top. And I'm just going to apply it with my finger and see how it goes on. So I feel like the standout shadows in the other LA Girl palettes that I've tried have always been the metallics, just because they've been pretty intense. These look nice. I haven't swatched this palette or anything like that, so this is just my true first impression. This one feels very, very soft. Again, no fallout, which is really, really nice. And it's just blending onto the eye super easily. It looks really pretty. So now I'm just going to take a little bit of that gold and layer it right in the center. I also ordered a pretty colorful palette from Essence. So I think I'll use that in my next Get Ready With Me. I have one planned for next week. By the way, now I'm just kind of going back in with whatever I had left in my finger of that copper shadow just to create more of like a true spotlight eye right in the center. What was I saying? Oh, I think my next look will be a more colorful one. I tried to like flip back and forth between a colorful eye look, a neutral eye look, a colorful eye look. I have been more into color lately, and I've actually been doing like a lot of warm eyes like this, and then on the bottom I'll do like a pop of blue, which has been a nice way to incorporate color, but I think for today's look, I'll just stick with a true neutral look. So let me do the same thing on the other eye, and then I will do the lower lash line and then clean it up a little bit. I'm just going to focus these two shadows on my lower lash line just to lightly define it. Actually, I'm just going in with that darker one. I don't think I really need the lighter one on the lower lash line. I'm just going to kind of connect it to the eyeshadow up here. Again, I know it looks really messy. I promise it will come together once I kind of clean everything up. But I feel like it's kind of nice just to be able to be messy, because then you tend, in my experience, to get a more, or just get like a well-blended, seamless look than if you're trying to be super careful, which again is why I do tend to do my eyes first sometimes these days. All right, so to clean it up, what I do is I just take a tiny bit of concealer on an eyeshadow brush, and I just lightly run it alongside of the bottom, just to kind of like gently carve it out, because I tend to blend up and out just a little bit too far. I'm just taking the highlight shade from the palette just to lightly soften the edges so they don't look quite as harsh. I think before I do my eyeliner, I'm just going to fill in my brows really quickly. I'm going to start with the NYX Micro Brow Pencil just to fill in my brows a little bit. And then I'm just going to take the NYX Lift and Snatch Brow Tint Pen, and I have the shade Espresso. And I'm just going to use this to define the brows a little bit more. For eyeliner, I'm going to be using the new Essence Lash Princess Eyeliner. I just reviewed this in my video that actually went up on Sunday, and I have to say I was a little bit disappointed by it. I didn't necessarily think I was going to love it, just because when I saw the initial photos, it looked like a pretty big eyeliner. And typically when it comes to liquid liner, I do prefer like a thin tapered tip, and I usually prefer a brush tip over a felt tip. But let me show you how it actually applies while I share my thoughts on it. It is a pretty dark, dramatic eyeliner, so it goes on nicely, but I do find that because the tip is a little bit bigger, a little bit thicker, I end up with a really dramatic wing most of the time. So it's not as easy to create a precise wing. If you're someone who's really good at eyeliner, you could probably make it work for you. But even after all these years, sometimes I do have a hard time creating even wings. So for me, I don't think it will ever become like a staple favorite of mine. I don't find that the formula is completely smudge proof. They actually have a waterproof version, but I find that that one smears within just a few seconds and it starts to bleed the second you put it on the eye. So if you're looking for a true long wearing eyeliner, I wouldn't really recommend picking this one up. They do have another one. Essence actually has a waterproof eyeliner pen that I think stays in place better than this one. But I do have it. I'll probably use it up fully just to see how long it actually lasts, but it's definitely not my favorite. I kind of messed my eyeliner up like right in this spot, and I feel like if I keep going in and trying to fix it with this eyeliner, the wing is just going to get thicker and more out of hand. Like you can kind of tell it's not super smooth in that area. So it's just kind of like a frustrating product to work with. I don't love how my eyeliner turns out, and I feel like it's kind of difficult to actually correct it. I'm going to use the Colourpop Cream Gel Liner in the shade Get Paid, which is one of my favorites, and I'm just going to apply this to the waterline just to add like a pop of copper to the eyes. I guess I have copper on the lid as well, but I feel like this will just kind of tie it together. For mascara, I'm just going to be using the Milani Highly Rated Anti-Gravity Mascara, and then I am going to use the false lashes today, so I'm just going to use the Ardell Demi Wispies. Because it is date night, I feel like it'll be fun to get a little more glammed up, so I think I'll apply these as well. So let me do that, and then I'll be right back. Okay, I believe I'm done with the eyes, other than an inner corner highlight, which I'll add in just a second. I was looking at my blush. I feel like maybe it faded a little bit since I initially applied it, and I do think it erased some of the foundation underneath, which I did not notice at first. It's not too terrible. I feel like that just kind of happens when it comes to liquid blushes, especially blushes that have kind of like this serum texture. But I just wanted to add a little more because I have been enjoying just a slightly more vibrant blush. And again, I don't know that you could really build this up to be quite as intense as it looks when you kind of swatch it on the hand. Just going over the nose a little bit too, just a tiny little bit. But it does give your skin a really pretty glow. I just don't know that it's going to last all day long. For highlighter, I did pick up 2 of these highlighters from Essence. They're just called The Highlighter. They have 4 shades. I love the blush line from Essence, and the blushes are a little bit smaller, but these are pretty large. So I got a pink toned shade, and then I also got a gold. I think I'm actually going to go with the gold. This did kind of break in shipping. I tried to press it back in the pan, but this is really pretty. It's maybe just like slightly icier than I would typically go when it comes to a gold highlighter. It was kind of hard to tell online. The pink one is really pretty too, but it's like an icy pink. So I think I'll go with the gold one. By the way, the pink one is called Staggering. This was the 3rd one. There's like a deeper pink one as well that I think would be really pretty as a blush, like a really glowy blush. And then the gold one is called Mesmerizing. So I'm just going to go in with the gold highlighter on the cheeks, on the nose. I don't know that I love this color. I feel like it's a little bit too light for me. It's just a little icier than I was hoping. I love like a good yellow gold highlighter. I think it looks pretty on the skin. I do think it is enhancing the texture on my face a little bit. I'm not sure. I love the blush line so much, and the blush line gives your skin like the most beautiful natural glow, but I'm not sure about the highlighters. So that's what it looks like in the inner corner. It's pretty light. For the lips, I have 2 of these LA Girl lip glosses. So I have the shade Peach, which is this color right here, and then I also have the shade Chill, which is a little more orangey. Maybe I'll mix them together. First, I'm just going to line my lips with this NYX pencil in the shade Goal Crusher. This is the Line Loud lip pencil. I've been really impressed by this formula. It's very, very creamy, so it glides on the lips with really just like minimal effort, but it locks down and stays in place so well. And then I'll start with the shade Peach. This is a new formula, and online, ooh, this is really pretty. Online, they describe them as pretty pigmented lip glosses, and I would say it has a good amount of pigment. There were darker shades, but I just wanted to go with 2 shades that I thought I would get a lot of use out of. It's definitely a little bit of a thicker gloss. I don't know that I want to layer too much of this lighter shade. And then let me just blend these 2 colors together. It's not a sticky gloss, but it is a little bit thicker. Like I can feel it on the lips. And when I rub my lips together, again, they don't stick together, but it feels just kind of thick. These do have a good amount of pigment to them. So if you are a fan of like a really pigmented gloss, this might be the formula for you. But if you're like me and you tend to prefer a thin, just really glossy gloss, something really comfortable, super shiny, these are definitely pigmented. I mean, they look really shiny there, but on the lips, they don't look super shiny to me, and they feel heavy. I don't know about this formula. Okay, you guys, I tried a lot of new makeup products today, and there were some really good ones and then probably some that I just don't think are worth the money. I would say one of the standout products for me is this Glow Serum Primer. This definitely gave my skin a smooth, glowy look. My foundation went on top of this primer and the other one that I used really, really nicely, and you could definitely see that natural glow under the foundation. I'm not sure about the Fix and Last one. I don't find that this is like a true gripping primer, especially compared to like the e.l.f. Power Grip or even the e.l.f. Jelly Pop. But I do think it feels nice on the skin. It's more of like a hydrating gel type primer. So if that's what you like, you might like it for that reason, but I wouldn't purchase this if you're looking for a true gripping primer. The lip oil actually surprised me because when I initially applied it, it didn't feel like anything super special, but when I took it off, my lips actually looked and felt really hydrated. So I'm going to keep using this and then try out the other 2 as well, but initially I wasn't really that impressed, but I think it maybe is more of an effective formula and just not initially super glossy. The eyeshadow palette applied really nicely, which didn't surprise me because I have tried other LA Girl shadows in the past, although I do think the matte shadows that I used today were maybe a little bit better than some of their other shadows. They were very creamy, there really wasn't any fallout at all, and they had really good pigmentation. So if you're looking for a staple neutral palette, this could definitely be a great option. I also think the shimmers look pretty, and they really haven't faded since I did my eyes. And sometimes with less expensive shimmer shadows, even after like an hour or two, you'll notice a lot of fading, but that's not the case with this one so far. I really like this bronzer. It's super creamy, very, very easy to work with. I'll let you guys know how it actually wears throughout the day. And same with the blush. It just gives your skin like a gorgeous luminous glow. I do think this might have a tendency to fade after a few hours. In fact, when I was doing my makeup today, you saw it did fade just a little bit, but I'll let you guys know how the rest of it wears because I did apply a little bit more, especially since it is pretty hot outside today. But I love the way this looks on the skin, and it's a lot better than the other Colourpop, why do I keep calling it Colourpop? Than the other CoverGirl blushes they did a few years ago that were really sticky and hard to blend. This one blends super, super easily. And then what else did I try? I already shared my thoughts on the Lash Princess Mascara, the NYX lip liners. Oh, the Essence highlighter. I don't know. I'm not really sold on this. I'm not sure if it's the formula or the color. I feel like it's maybe the color that I don't love on my skin tone. So I'm going to try out this pink one and then maybe purchase the darker pink one as well. I do think it went on pretty nicely, but I need to keep testing it because initially I'm just not in love. But we'll see. I want to use it a few more times. And then I already shared my thoughts on the lip glosses as well. So those are just my initial thoughts on the products as I tested them out for the very first time today. I will definitely come back in a few weeks and share more finalized thoughts on these products. And then I'm going to do another video testing out additional drugstore and maybe some high-end products as well that should be up next week. So if you guys liked this video, stay tuned. I'll have another one coming your way. So thank you guys so much for watching today's video. Thanks for hanging out with me. I really appreciate it. Let me know if you guys plan on trying any of these products or if you've already tested them out. Let me know how they're working for you, and I'll see you guys very soon with a new video. Bye.